Hello everyone and welcome back to Brown Coat Reviews. I'm your host Laura and I am here with everyone's favorite guest star, my husband, Scott. Now, beyond the fact that he is giving me a fit of giggles right now, we are actually going to show something that I didn't realize was something that was unique. Now, we of course are a married couple. He's kind of stuck with me, but we both read comic books and we both read different series. We both have our kind of shared comic books that we get into the storylines together. We'll definitely swap, especially if there's a series that he recommends that he thinks I'm going to like and vice versa. Mm-hmm. But what I wanted to show you today was our pull list, just to give you kind of a general idea of what we grabbed from our local LCS over at Ultimate Comics Raleigh. Thank you so much, Dan. And give you kind of a glimpse of what does he get, what does she get, and what do he get. Now, I'm going to go first, because ladies first.
It's your channel.
Now, first thing was the Batman Black and White. So this is issue number 4. Now, let me just kind of zoom in on that one. Now, this was one of the variant covers. I love the artwork on this series. No, I haven't read it yet. It's in the list. But from the reviews that I keep hearing about it, everyone is going crazy over this series. And the last time I waited before grabbing it, it sold out. So I made a point to kind of pick my favorite cover, and this was definitely it. I love Two-Face in this one. Now, this was actually last week's grab, and Brandon, technically this is your fault. So just saying. Children of the Atom was released last week, and found out, thanks to Brandon, that there was a secret variant cover that had the original X-Men cast on it, so I had to grab it. So obviously you see Cyclops and Gambit, and before Jean Grey got her new costume, I loved it. It's really cute. And yes, I will actually read the series now that I have it, but there was suddenly a very specific need to get this. Now, I grabbed this one. This is King in Black Scream, issue number 1. I loved the cover. Scream is a character that I've been wanting to get more into. I've got a couple issues with Scream in them, kind of, that I've been amassing. But I figured if I was going to check it out, definitely start with issue number 1. And since Gwenom vs. Carnage ended up being a standalone series, maybe I'll get lucky and this is as well. So maybe it's a great kind of jumping in point for the character.
It's a cool cover.
It is a great cover. This one I have been excited for weeks. Oh, this is the Patrick Gleason cover of Carnage, Black, White, and Blood. I love it. Absolutely love it. And this one, so excited. So Scott has no idea why I'm excited about this cover. So this is Bad Idea Comics, but first, print. That's right. The reason this is a big deal. Now, this was released again last week. Last week, I made the mistake. I didn't subscribe to it in advance. I've had some issues with Comic Hub, and I was teetering on whether to grab it or not. Went there on release day, and we found out that our local LCS had actually been shorted most of the orders that they had placed, let alone the orders that they placed. 50% of them were first prints and the other half were second prints that were all released the same day. So most of the comic book shops were really frustrated. And I wasn't sure I wanted to get it anyways. And then when the only thing available were second prints, like, you know what? No, I'm just going to wait until there's a trade. Let's wait for the hoopla to die down a little bit and we'll just see. Turns out that they fixed the ordering issue with the local comic book shops. Maybe Bad Idea Comics was doing this to sort of apologize for their vast mistake on the ordering of this. So the only catch was we did have to subscribe to the rest of the series, which I had no problems with. But now I get to read it, check it out. I'm excited. What did you grab?
So I have been interested in the new Black Widow movie that's coming out. And because I knew that this character was going to be featured in that, I saw this little mini series and started subscribing to it. It's Taskmaster. So this week I got issue number 5 of 5. It's been really good so far. I have been reading it as I've been getting it. It's not one that I've been waiting on. I gotta say, I'm a little surprised that I wasn't more familiar with the character before, but now that I am, I will probably watch for any new series that come out with him. And Amazing Spider-Man, because I've been a fan of him probably second longest of all of my comics.
And that's the new Spider-Man costume.
Yes.
That's been released in that issue.
Red Sonja, I've been a fan of as well for a very long time. Something about chicks that can kick butt and take names, and chicks with swords. Come on. I mean, that's a little homage to you as well, Grace, but I mean, she's just bad. And especially, I love that cover. I love Lisner's in particular. I like his art style. It reminds me very much of that same 40s era pinup, which is one of the reasons why I like the Bombshell series so much. And then I have not actually read this yet, but I did pick it up partly because of the cover. This is the new Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge fan of Harley Quinn. I'm hoping this one goes a little bit deeper than just surface. We'll find out. And then this, I just saw these on Comic Hub and decided I wanted to go ahead and start grabbing them now. So this is Women's History Month special covers for various titles. This one obviously has got the Avengers, and it's featuring She-Hulk, Jen Walters. I like the layout of it. It's very tasteful. It's kind of cool to see them in like other wear as opposed to their superhero outfits only. So that's the first of several of those I'll be getting, hopefully.
And he grabbed 2 of them last week, and I think we have 2 more coming next week. So Very cool. Detective Comics 1, this cover is gorgeous. So let's focus in on that first. Batman and Detective Comics, we technically are not subscribed to this series, mostly because we do the same thing that I do with Batman Black and White, is we kind of wait and see if the A or the B cover is going to be our favorite. Although I will say, most of them we end up getting the variant covers.
I think so, yeah.
Pretty much with Batman, almost always. Just gotta keep going. Stray Dogs. So this is where we have to give Casey a ton of credit at our local LCS in Ultimate Comics Raleigh.
Yep.
Casey was the one who told us about this series months before it was released. She kept saying that it is coming. You're going to want to grab it. She gave us kind of the description of it, and as soon as it came out, again, we knew that this title was coming. We couldn't remember what the heck the title was. And she set aside a copy for us, which was awesome. So she also helped make sure that we get subscribed. I haven't read it yet. It's on the list, but everyone that I've talked to has absolutely loved this series. You want to talk about that one?
So, Once in Future. This, again, I think was a Grace recommendation that came off of a live show a while ago from Ultimate Comics. But I may have heard of it first for some reason, and then when I mentioned to Laura British literature, King Arthur lore and comic, she was in. And the writing has not failed. I've read every single issue as it's come out. We're both caught up. This is issue 17 that we got this week. The protagonist in it, if you're not familiar with the story, is not at all your stereotypical hero. She's a little elderly grandmother, lives in a rest home. It's hilarious and sad at times, but mostly just like it keeps you wanting to turn the page for the next thing. Her grandson is another main figure in it, and the banter between the two of them is one of the reasons why I've kept going with it so much, because I'll be honest, some of the literature references I miss. And then I have to go back and be like, wait, why did that challenge from this particular character mean they had to do this? Oh, because in the book, that's what happens. So, but the writing is well worth the storyline, and anything that you can't figure out from the reading of it the first time, you can look it up and it'll make it even more vibrant and make it more sense to you.
And the one thing I will say is we do have a video coming up where, again, I'm going to corner this man. I'm going to get him in front of the camera more often because he is a wealth of knowledge. But we both loved the Once and Future series, and this is, again, another one of those series that a lot of people have kind of heard a little bit about, but have not delved into it, and we both absolutely love it. Completely agree. Different reasons, and I think we both draw something different from it each week, or each time we get another issue. You or me?
You go ahead. I'll hold it up. I'll be Vanna.
So this is Noctera. This is a Scott Snyder series that came out 2 weeks ago. It's been out for a while. This is the glow-in-the-dark cover, which it's gorgeous. I mean, just in general, the series, as far as I've heard, everyone has raved about it. I am a Scott Snyder fan. Beyond, kick butt, take names, amazing, female protagonist that had me interested. We were debating. I mean, every single time we go into the shop, we would walk past the display for Noctera and kept asking Dan about it each time. And finally, Scott was smart enough to just pull the trigger on Wednesday and just grab it, which was great.
I think my question to you via text was, which cover do you want? Not do you want it. Which cover do you want?
We've talked about it enough. Yeah. Let's do it.
It's fun too because I also didn't realize that it was a bit odd for couples to be reading, not only both reading books, but to be reading like the same storylines. And one of the things that is both a good thing and somewhat painful about it is that Laura's doing her channel. She's doing a lot of her own research for that. She's reading multiple different things, many of which I may not be. And then I have my kind of wheelhouse that I'm reading on a regular basis, and then she'll throw something new at me as well. Problem with that is I'm reading something I know she wants to read, and she hasn't read it yet, and I can't talk to her about it because I don't want to spoil anything yet.
Yes.
And then vice versa. She's like, oh, have you read this yet? Have you got to this issue yet?
Yes.
Have you got to this yet? And I'm like, no, I have to do other things. I'm sorry. So it's a good thing, and also can be a bit, clumsy at times. But when you get to the point where you're actually both finished with a series, finished with an issue, whatever the case may be, and you sit down and you're like, so I like this, and then you find yourself talking for like an hour about it, it's kind of cool. But
the one thing I will say that I enjoy is typically we'll both be, whether it's laying in bed or sitting side by side on the couch, and we'll both be reading our comic books. And you can tell whether we're enjoying it, whether you start hearing kind of like the giggles coming from the other person. And, it's really good when we have to like pause and be like, I gotta read you this. And we'll kind of point out some of the clever writing, or we'll show just an amazing kind of art print sketch that's inside the book.
Yeah.
Just because we're too excited to sort of wait. That is definitely kind of a key, like, oh, I've got to check out this series. There have been a couple Black Widow series that he's grabbed that I haven't read them yet, but I'll hear his reactions to them, and now I want to read them more because I'm like, if he enjoyed it, then I'm going to enjoy it as well. Yeah.
Some really good writing, some pretty artwork, lots of stuff to share.
We definitely enjoy the same type of key elements in stories, but yeah, there still are certain series that he is grabbing that I'm not, but then, like I said, if it's one that he's like, oh, you're going to love it, then I definitely read it. But it makes life very interesting. The only challenge is, I agree, finding the time to read it all. Yes. So this, of course, is our fantastic pull list. Some weeks we have a very small pull. Sometimes we don't grab a ton from the comic book shop. Sometimes it's just me grabbing from the live shows and online locations that I don't know what we're talking about, but I may be purchasing some other magical, mystical comic books that arrive at our house, and I don't know how they got here.
Receipts never lie, dear.
Gosh. Yes, they don't lie, but if I could hide them, I would. So this was definitely a more full pull list for us. And we'll take a look and show you all what we get next week. Because we have other things, of course, that we're subscribed to that didn't show up this week, but are coming in the near future. Mm-hmm. So thank you so much for tuning in to Brown Coat Reviews. And thank you so much for my favorite guest. And we will be seeing you all again very soon. Have a great day.